So today's episode is bonus footage, about 30 minutes from our interview with coach and professional trainer James Mayhew. I just felt like we couldn't leave this on the cutting room floor. I think you're going to enjoy it. Some interesting perspectives. So let's get to it. Coach James. Let's go.
Knock him out the box, Rick. Knock him out, Rick.
Bonus footage. There isn't even a question about your mindset determines what you do in this game.
Yeah.
It's just most of us don't realize it ever or soon enough or like I really didn't understand that till I would say that since when I turned, I think 40 for me was like a midlife realization and like understanding like, oh shit, I got a lot of things I got to rethink, relearn. My negative blaming others, blaming my ex versus like really every time now catching that it's always your responsibility, man. You made the choice, so just make better choices. Don't bitch about it.
Exactly.
Like, right, just get better. And I just kept trying to improve in different ways my player, right? No matter what the game threw at me, it doesn't matter. You can't control the game, you can control the player. Like I really started living like that more and kind of playing it like a game, thinking like, man, this could be a simulation. Like life actually gets better when I play it that way in some cases. Like
It does.
factoring in the emotions, feelings, and you care about people. I want good people around me. So I'm not saying play it like a game, like don't give a fuck, because the game is complicated. There's emotions involved. But in a game, if it was a simulation, you'd want to live fully. You'd be like, I paid for this shit probably.
Exactly.
I probably turned that part of the brain off so I could like, I do think honestly that if I'm being totally honest with myself, this could very well be the year 3020 and we are in a virtual reality, like at a store, like at a shopping mall, and are strapped in and we just paid an extra couple $100 to turn off that part of your brain where you know you're playing a game.
Yeah.
Because you're like, I want to fucking see what happens in 2020. Yeah. And then they go, and you're like, oh, I'm here, blah, blah, blah. But it's really like a 30-minute thing. And when you hit 100 or whatever, you fucking die. Whatever happens, you overdose, whatever happens in this game,
out.
you go, oh shit. And then your friends are like, holy shit, motherfucker. You're like, what the fuck? What happened? And they're like, you were shaking and doing shit for like the last 30 minutes. You're like, 30 minutes? It was 100 years. You're like, no, you were playing the game. Oh shit. And then you're going to go, fuck, man. Why didn't I do that thing? Why didn't I ask that girl out? Why didn't I tour the world? Why didn't I buy those plane tickets? Whatever it is. So when I, and then you go, run it again, motherfuckers. Again? Yes. Here's another 1,000. I want that shit turned off. I'm going again. Right? And then I'm just saying, man. And if it isn't, fuck it. It's still better to do the podcast. Even though I have no business doing one and I feel silly doing it a little bit. But I'm like, shut up. I tell myself to shut up on that stuff because it's not real. And just go, okay, if it was a simulation, if you paid for this shit, you're going to be pissed. Okay, fine, do the podcast. It's not going to kill me. It's not going to kill me to buy some Joe Rogan microphones for a couple grand, even though I shouldn't, right? Because I'm like, if I get hit by a bus tomorrow, I'm going to be pissed that I didn't do at least an episode. And my kids, I love doing it with Cody. Why not? We spend time together. And I get to do this. I would have never had you over because we lead busy lives.
Yeah.
Now I have an excuse to go. When I saw your post, I go, dude, I should have James on, man. That would be, I don't know if you were into it. Some people go, oh, I don't like podcasts.
When you said like what it was about, I was like, this is exactly what I want to do, what I want to talk about. And what you're saying about the simulation is so true. I can't believe I just saw The Matrix for the first time last summer, and that movie literally for about 3 months after you see it will have you waking up one day life is normal, the next day you want to move out of society and just live in the middle of nowhere because you're like, this is all bullshit. So once you find that kind of mesh of, all right, this is bullshit, this is a game, I should just enjoy it.
Enjoy it.
And like, think about, at the end of the day, it's Earth has been around for so long,
right?
And to think that this is the only human existence, we've had different existences and we exist in different spiritual realms, and things are just
Here's the thing. Nobody knows. That's the key to my philosophy. So here's what I say to the naysayers that say, well, you don't know it's a simulation. I definitely don't know it's a simulation. What I'm saying is it's just as likely to be a simulation as any other theory.
Yeah.
Like, it could also be Judaism, Christianity, the Muslims got it right. It could be anyone or any other trillion ideas that have been out there.
Mm-hmm.
But it could be that I paid for a virtual reality game. You can't tell me, no, it's impossible. With the technology we have, imagine if the human race is still alive in 1,000 years. Imagine the virtual reality shit they're going to do to our heads. They're going to be able to turn off that part of your brain that remembers shit and pull you into 2020 with simulated cars and feelings, and they're going to have electrodes on your body, or they're just going to plug into your brain where they can literally make you experience whatever you paid for, man. So I'm not even kidding when I say this literally could be what I described. But even if it isn't, here's the great thing. When I first thought of this to myself, and I thought of it this way, I decided, even if it isn't, I still get better results. Like, I go for that business idea. I talk to that person. I wouldn't have maybe reached out to you if I was like, oh, because I would be like, oh, I don't want to bother Coach James. He's busy. And he's coaching some big fucking names, dude. So I didn't want to like bother you like, oh, hey. But then I said, if this was a fucking virtual, I probably got into the habit of it ever since that indoor soccer place, man. Because that business kicked my fucking ass. And it was so stressful. And, you know, my wife was like emotional about our finances every other day. So it was like a lot of pressure. And that's when I was like, how do I conquer stress? Because that's the only thing I could do. I can't close the doors. We had deposits from families to do the summer program. And if we close the doors, we got to return all that money. And we got all these employees. No. We're going to keep it going, right? And I had a job, full-time job.
Yeah.
And I have film production business and a 3-month-old. We're crazy, man. I did it for the experience, right? But it was a crazy experience.
Yeah.
And it made me kind of realize, like, you know, I don't know. It made me realize.
I think there's an interesting concept of what you're saying is you can use spirituality and because spirituality is just, people think spirituality is crystals and stones and all this stuff and religions, but it's really like the way you view the world. Like that's your spirituality and your
I don't consider myself spiritual. I think of myself as like a realist, kind of like, meaning I think a true realist says, I don't know shit.
Yes.
That's like a cop-out, but it's not, because I say, well, I do experience something like pleasure and pain. So then I think, okay, how do I maximize my pleasure and minimize my pain? By doing what I'm doing, like being around good people, having a job that I enjoy. So I changed my career. Like once I realized that's the direction, then I started changing stuff too. And changing how I thought about dude, I couldn't do this before because I would have been in my own head. And part of what I want to do, James, is remove people's mental prisons, man. I know that sounds also cliche, but
no, that's a real thing.
When you think your parents are everything to you, let's say, or religion is everything, or that for an example, you are limited with what you're able to let yourself do just from guilt and anxiety alone. That's what they're there for, man. They control you.
I think in high school, I was definitely in a mental prison when it came to basketball. Like, you could look at my stats. I think I averaged 2 points, 2 rebounds a game. Like I was getting like no minutes, and I had zero confidence when it came to playing basketball.
Yeah.
And people would be like, "Yo, you're really good. Like, why are you playing like shit in the games?" And I'm like, "Dude, I don't fucking know. Like, I'm fucking up. Like, I don't know what's going on." And then really, like, I was 16, 17. Like, you're not thinking about life through that different lens.
Right.
And once you get time to really stop being able to get it, because kids are year round being fed information, and a lot of it is just more so information and not tools. And so like,
Or it's inaccurate, ineffective, fear-based, passed down from generation to generation, closed-minded thinking, dude.
Yeah.
And it's not the parents' fault. They don't want to hurt their kids. That's what they were taught.
Yeah.
I had to rethink it all, man. I was taught the same shit. And then I was doing the same thing to my kids until I had this realization too.
That was the perfect thing for me once I was able to stop playing basketball, and I had freshman year of college with, if like anyone who's been to college, like you have hella free time. Like it's a bunch of free time. So, and my 5 best friends all went to schools out of state. My best friend was playing basketball at Hawaii. Other friend was in business school at Indiana. Other friend was in music school at NYU. So I'm looking around. I'm like, all right, I need to like do some shit with my life. Like I need to pick this shit up. And being able to have free time to actually think about what you want to do is so important, because a lot of people don't have that free time to like really analyze your life. Like, what do I like? I've been able to get 2 of my best friends from high school to become trainers at Athletic Gains, and neither of them majored in kinesiology. Neither of them knew they wanted to be trainers until they really saw like me doing it. And
how did you know? What do you look for?
So this is kind of funny, but I knew I wanted to be in
their dance moves.
I knew I
got rhythm. I'm not in the gym.
I knew I wanted to. How did I know I wanted to be a trainer?
How did you know how do you know when to like invite people in to work with you?
So Mike, so this is interesting. This is crazy. Mike was in the G League playing for the Jazz, got cut, came back. The whole summer that Mike was training to get ready to go. So he had just finished at Hawaii. Great career, was team captain for 4 years out of 5 years being there. And anyone that's like really been to Hawaii and like even around the team, like the Hawaii basketball team's the only thing sports on TV. So like you're a well-known athlete in Hawaii. So Mike went from kind of being like the man to now in the G League, got cut, and that whole summer he was training with me, literally staying. I set up an air mattress in my room, so he was staying like, we had our beds like as far as me and Cody right here, and we were grinding, like waking up early, working out. And once he got cut, he was basically just upset, like didn't know what he wanted to do. Like, you work so hard to get here.
When did he get cut?
2 Novembers ago.
Oh,
and
shit.
It was like supposed to be the best time of our lives, because at the start of November he was in the G League and I was on this rap tour, so shit was great. Halfway through
rap tour,
yeah.
So one of my clients is a pretty well-known rapper, Freddie Gibbs.
Gotcha.
And
and you trained him.
I trained.
Oh, okay.
I've been training him for a while.
I thought you were doing I thought you had a rap group. I don't know.
I wish.
I wouldn't doubt you.
My mixtape's dropping.
Give me drop a little beat. Drop a little beat.
Mixtape coming out.
Hey, maybe it'll be a podcast mixtape with some beats behind it.
Some freestyles in later.
We can freestyle a little bit if you want.
I'm with that.
I'm not saying I'm really good
I need
at
a lot
it,
more to keep.
I know. It's a scary thing.
That's a good transition back to the Mike story.
Yeah.
So when I told Mike, I was like, "Yo, Mike, if you want to do you want to be a trainer at Athletic Gains?" He didn't even think about it. He was like, "Oh, hell yeah!" So that was it.
Oh,
Nice.
okay.
Boom.
When people aren't excited about it, that's a red flag, man. So that's a big deal.
Exactly.
And if they don't show up, you kind of know quick. You just got to be able to give people chances and then get rid of them quickly if it's not for them.
That's so
Set
true.
them free, man.
You can't.
Really.
You can't want it more than someone else.
No, and if somebody's doing it for the first time, and this is just something as a business owner I've had to learn the hard way, the risk with bringing on newbies is they've never done it, so you have to let them try, and you have to be honest with yourselves that this may not work. Just come and try, man.
Yeah.
Do it for 2 weeks. You're gonna know, because you're gonna be sick of seeing my ass here and the smell, and you're just not gonna be into it. Trust me.
That's so true.
You know. But
That's
then
what
they're
I'll tell
afraid to
them.
even try. Sometimes people are afraid to. Oh no, I'm gonna be a lawyer. All right, but what if
Alright.
you love training people, dude? See,
Straight up.
I believe in the whole SMURF concept. You know, like figure out what kind of SMURF you are, and be that SMURF. That might change down the road. Later, you might be a different kind of SMURF, a rapper SMURF.
Yeah.
You don't know, but make
That's-
sure it's really what you want to do, and you got a little flavor for it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You don't
So-
even have to have that much talent for it. I don't think. I think you have to have more the love, because, and I don't, just for the record, I don't believe you can do whatever you want. People say that you could do whatever you want. No, you
No,
could do
no.
whatever you could do whatever you love. I think, as long as you have just a little bit of talent.
Yeah.
It doesn't even have to be that much, because the work will pay off. You just may not get to the top of your industry,
Exactly.
but you're going to be making money. If you grind it out for 10, 15 years, doing what you love,
The
trust me.
universe will reward you.
Yes, it just,
Exactly.
the game works
That's
that way,
how-
man.
Exactly.
You don't have to
It's
believe
like-
in God or the
It's like
universe.
tokens. It's
Yeah.
like coins.
It's like,
Eventually your coins add up, you
Yeah.
cash out, you're
think
good.
of it as a video game. Look, you go to the gym for an hour a day. You're probably going to start looking different. That's how the game works, man. It gives
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
It gives back.
Yo.
It's just you got to go for 2 months, not 2 times, and then say, this isn't working.
Yeah.
The
That's
game
so
takes
true.
time. That's the other thing that Josh and I always talk about. Like, change is slow, and most people don't know that, and they quit too soon. Like, they may be an athlete SMURF, but they're not where they think they want to be in 3 years, and they quit now.
Yeah.
And they're not. You've probably seen those athletes that you think, I don't know about this dude, and then they shock you, man, because they put in the work, and you're like, they're leaping out of the
Straight
freaking
up.
building.
Straight up. And the thing about like quitting too soon is it's good to know when to move on to something else.
Absolutely, man.
But I feel like if you don't have something to move on to, you might as well try to like stick it out. You know?
Well, if you love it, you got to ask yourself and be honest. Because
That's
I
the
stuck
real
around
question.
with a career that I was doing well in that I did not like. I
Yeah.
hated, man. But I thought, I was afraid. What if I have a degree? I spent 4.5 years in college. What if I can't be successful anywhere else? To just go with no safety net, no degree? What am I going to do with that?
Mhm.
So I kept sticking around, and that's not good, man. Because you're going to have a very low ceiling.
It's true.
Because by the time I was 20 years in, I was operating at 40% capacity. Do you know what I'm saying? Dragging my ass. But my experience allowed me to be successful. But I was a horrible, like, I wouldn't want to hire me because I'm better than that. Go do some shit you can be passionate about. Like, I can do podcasting all night long, dude.
Yeah.
I can go like 12 plus hours. I'll have to be dragged away from the mic, dude, with the right guest.
Yeah.
Not by myself, but with a dialogue, man. Like,
Yeah.
with somebody that I, we do like, our sessions usually go 3 hours just because it's just the conversation, man.
Yeah.
And that's what it's really about for me. And then it's like, next, okay, I'll put someone else right.
Even in like really bleak circumstances, you can find certain things to use to your advantage.
Right.
And that's just so key. And you
Yeah.
look at every person that's made it out from those situations, they found like, all right, I use these 3-4 things to my advantage, and I just pushed those.
Yes.
And I ignored all my deficiencies. Because
Yep.
like school and teachers make you focus and get your mind ingrained to thinking so much about working on your weaknesses. And we should work on our weaknesses. But if you accentuate your strengths, they can
Boom.
overshadow a lot of your weaknesses.
Dude, you got to find who you are. Dude, James, come on. 100%.
Yeah.
100%, man. And I got to say this, that the destiny theory, which is kind of indisputable, meaning you can't really dispute that you are a product of your genetics and environment.
Yeah.
Neither one you picked, so therefore, it makes you were born. You don't even remember shit till you're like 4. So you were already on like by then like a mostly baked bread. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so that's just to accept yourself. That's what that is for. That's what I use that for, to go, hey, don't be upset that I still got 10 pounds to go. That's where the destiny brought me. You know, my parents didn't teach me how to eat healthy. I had to reverse that. It took me time.
Exactly.
Be okay with myself. But I also was lucky enough to run into people thinking a different way that made me go, oh shit, I can accelerate this process, man, and be an active participant. And let's just say it was destiny that I met that person, but I'm going to actively try to change my destiny as much as I can.
Dude,
And whether it's destiny or not doesn't matter. I'd rather live a more fun life. Therefore, I don't want to sit and just give up on myself type of thing. And
Dude.
anyone listening to this, I'm just going to say, if they realize at some point the game, because like Steve Jobs said when he was 14, once he realized there's no box and you can push and pull this universe however you want, sort of, almost whatever, like you could figure out anything and get around anything. That's when he decided, I'm going to do big shit then, because there's really no limits other than what I set for myself.
Yeah.
It's true, man. The game works. It just,
Dude,
you have to, you've been tricked. They've been tricked. You're a piece of shit. You don't know shit. You're nothing. You get bad grades.
You need to
right.
do all this stuff. This stuff.
And you get bad grades. So the school system's telling you you're dumb. Your parents are telling you you're dumb. Your neighborhood, people aren't really emotionally intelligent typically, right? So they're not like, hey, Johnny, you're great. You're just hearing negative shit your whole life.
100%.
No one's ever exposed you to makeup art or training or
something you might love.
And if you're not a good athlete or math, science, English major, you're kind of labeled dumb.
You're just thrown off to the side.
Yeah. So like when people realize they just got to find their super talent or whatever they're obsessed. They don't even have to be that talented. Just find something you obsess over.
Exactly.
Like I know people that finally admitted to me that they love eyelashes, for example. And they wouldn't tell me. I'm like, what's your like, oh, I don't really have any passion. I'm like, what do you look on your phone about? Finally, she's like, well, I really love eyelashes, but what does that mean? I go, that's $1 billion industry. Why don't you go like work in the eyelash industry? Why don't you go get a assistant job there? Like get in there, learn the business. But it's fear. You like it. But it's fear or like thinking that's not really possible. If you don't think it's possible, why would you show up to train? You got to believe you can make it first.
And no one, like, I won't say no one, but because you're a type of person that will encourage someone, but not a lot of people are encouraging you to do stuff that's outside of the box and that could fail because no one wants to give bad advice.
Even I'm not going to lead them anywhere. They have to take somebody's words and decide to do shit.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you could bring a horse to water. You can't make him drink.
True.
Like, dude, that's so important. The game will never serve it up in a platter.
Never.
Even if you win the lottery by luck, right? First of all, you have to buy the ticket. But no, let's say you win the lottery.
Yeah.
You're probably going to lose that money because you haven't learned how to manage money yet. That's why you didn't have money in the first place. Don't invest your money in a lottery.
My dad tells me all the time.
Invest your money in a financial wealth building class so you can buy real estate without putting money down, whatever the freak you decide to. Look, don't do that, but do it if you love it. If you love flipping houses, why don't you go learn? Like, it's literally that easy. It's just most people don't know what they love. So then you have to watch a lot of YouTube videos and do a lot of like free interning or volunteering.
Yeah.
Whenever you have time in between paying your bills, I guess. Because some people have kids and a job and they can't get away. But I'm just saying I did a transition with 3 kids, dude.
Well, that's what I was going to say is a little like, this is the real like inspiration. I remember we were in my backyard and you were telling me like, yeah, I'm tired of this accounting shit. I'm going to do this, and this. And then like, you're like, yo, follow me on Instagram because I'm going to start posting all of it. I was like, all right, cool. And like, I've look at all of it. I'm like, oh, hell yeah. Like,
it's been a lot slower, dude, than I thought it would be because I was scared kind of and not ready.
Yeah.
Seriously.
But
And-
to see that transition and see you go from, because I literally remember being in the backyard, and I remember when we saw each other at Something's Fishy.
yeah.
And you're like, and I was just like, "Oh, how's it going?" And you're like, "Still working. It's going slow." And I was just like, "Shit!" Like, to be able to do that transition with 3 kids and like
And now 4.
a newborn baby
Yeah.
and like having a relationship, like I've been blessed to really not have to have any obligations. Like
Right.
when a client or I hate saying the word client, but like when like a friend or person I work with
Yeah.
asks me to go out of town, like I don't have to, I can literally leave
Right.
right then and there.
Yeah.
Do
Like-
it while you're young, man. I always tell my
Yeah.
boys, like, I don't take it personal. I just had to take a really long detour. That was my Nelson Mandela moment. That's how I look at it. Like, it was painful though. When I look back,
I've
just
been
so
able
you
to
know,
accelerate because I have 0
Yes.
obligations.
dude,
That's
I didn't
what's
have
good.
obligations either. I just wasn't as in touch with myself as you, man.
Mm.
You just touched yourself more, man. I don't know.
That's just
I just didn't understand myself, man. See, I should have
Oh, I
spent
feel
more
you.
time with myself.
Dude, that
Like you
alone
did,
time.
James. No, but seriously, you know what I mean? Like,
No, straight
you were
up.
able to figure out who you are. That's the point. I was
Question.
super confused.
Question.
Yeah.
When did you start smoking weed?
19.
Yeah. Well,
No,
no,
that
you
wasn't
shoulda-
it. I
that
can't
shoulda
blame
been
that.
good.
I know what it is, man. I know my problem.
Got it.
I was very brainwashed into like mindsets, belief systems, like how a
Mm.
family should be, how a career should be, that you should go to college. Like I was put in a high school that was a college prep high school. 99.9% of people went to college. I just went there I didn't know what I wanted to do. I just went, and then I kept trying different majors, and then I picked accounting at the last minute because it was a stable career. Like dumb, dude. Like no
See, I was
real thought process there.
Got it.
Doctor,
'Cause I-
lawyer, no, okay, accountant. That's kind of the joke in the family. Like if you're the dumb one, you become the accountant.
Damn.
Like that's the expectation.
Mhm.
I didn't have to do it. They wouldn't have murdered me, but
Yeah.
that did
At that
guide
time,
me, and
Yeah.
it's not an excuse, but that's the truth, man. I was too ignorant and naive to go my own way. But I know now, I tell my kids, like, listen to me if you want, but like, make your own mistakes, even because you want to do you. It's your game, not my game.
Bro. And you don't realize how far ahead that's making you. Like, your dad's like my parents. Like, my parents are both like, yo, do whatever the fuck you want to do. Just make sure you're like safe and you're not like doing illegal shit.
What do I tell you when you leave the house? Don't die.
Yo,
That's it.
literally.
I'm like, just
be
don't die.
safe.
Everything else we can figure it out.
Yeah.
I know he's responsible, but look, nothing's the end of the world if you don't die.
Literally.
You know what I'm saying?
And like, and the whole thing is like, I remember my parents like never really put any pressure on me to do anything in particular. Like, my dad did not graduate from high school, and my mom was always like, you have to go to college. So the whole thing for me was like, all right, I just had to balance out. And this was honestly a great balance because it's just how real life is. So I had to balance out like, all right, I want to just do training, and technically I didn't have to go to college to become a trainer.
Right.
But my mom was like, you have to go to college. So me being able to balance out training and like what I love versus, all right, I have to do this for my mom.
So how did you do it? Like, how did you make, like, you still finished college?
Yeah.
All right. So
so
you
I
got your
have a
degree, which
degree
is
in
great. I don't think you need
kinesiology.
it, but it's a nice.
No one has ever asked for my degree or my
Thank you.
GPA for anything.
I'm just being honest,
ever.
man. They don't give a fuck because
Oh, 100%.
it's all about delivering results. They'd be who cares? I mean, it's nice. Don't get me wrong, and it shows that you have the resilience and you're able to put it in your room in a nice framed
Yeah.
thing, and
Well, that's
maybe it makes you feel good.
That
I'm
shit
not
is in my sock
downplaying it.
dresser.
Look, I got one. Hey, I got one, and I'm proud of myself for doing it. Did I need to? No, honestly, I didn't, because
How many times
I should have
been
studied
ever asked for your
film or done
degree?
something different, or it doesn't matter. I didn't have, for me now, some of my
True.
friends should have gone to college and did. And I'm not downplaying college or saying my kids won't go to college,
That's true.
but I definitely tell kids use college. Don't go because you're supposed to go. You know what I mean?
100%.
Knock him out the box, Rick. Knock him out, Rick.
Bonus footage.